Yo, what's poppin'? It's Tommathan, and today I wanted to talk about the awards for Overwatch League Season 5, being the Role Star, the Coach of the Year, Rookie of the Year, the MVP, the Playoff MVP, and of course the Dennis Hawelka Award. So I have a visualization of the amount of votes each player received for the Tank Role Star on my screen. I have this for everyone except for Dennis Hawelka and MVP of the playoffs because I don't have the numbers for those. But yeah, so as we see, Hanbin 75 votes, with Smurf 65, Hottie 45, and Reiner 35 as your tank role stars, with Hawk being the runner-up or the fifth man with 28. So as I scroll down, you'll see this is the number to beat for Hanbin, way down here. Now, there are 84 different voters, but Dallas Fuel couldn't vote for Hanbin. So out of 83 possible votes he could have gotten, he got 75, which is about 90%, I believe. So that's a lot. It should be 83, right? There's no reason you look at this and you say, I don't know if Hanbin's the one. There might be four other tanks better than him. You just can't do that. Same with Smurf. I think they both should be very high. I don't know how you can argue Smurf shouldn't be there either. So to me, Hanbin, Smurf are the lock, and then the other two you could think a bit about. So in terms of Hottie, coming in at a big 45, I think Hottie is a reasonable choice. I personally didn't have him on my All-Star team. I had Reiner Hawk as my second All-Star, with Hanbin Smurf as my first team All-Stars, right? But I think Hottie is reasonable because I talked about it in my MVP video, right? By the numbers. And Hottie's stats on Ryan are not comparable to anyone else. Because you get some Ryan play throughout the season with someone played a bit, Bellisria, Smurf, Reiner. But like the Ryan they were playing wasn't the same as the Ryan Hottie was playing, because Hottie was playing it in way more different situations. And that changes the stats drastically. So no, he didn't have the best Ryan stats despite being the Reinhardt. But you got to use context. Stats aren't everything, right? The context for Hottie Ryan is no one else is doing it like him on the Ryan. It just didn't happen. Now, the context of his stats on the Winston and on the Wrecking Ball are very much reasonable. And you can say, well, he didn't have an elite other tank besides Ryan. But his Winston was all right. His ball was all right. I think that's where his argument's kind of weak. Some people say, oh, he's not just a Ryan one trick. You're right, but his other tanks, to me, were not role star level. If he didn't have that Reinhardt, if he wasn't so strong on the Reinhardt, no one considers him for a role star, right? It's just not a thing. So I don't know. I think that him being chatty definitely helped out, and how prolific he is. Probably one of the best stories in Overwatch League this season was Hottie. So I think I understand where people are coming from for the role star. I think he's a reasonable pick. I personally wouldn't have picked him. I think I would have went with Reiner Hawk probably, but I don't specifically dislike the pick. Other things worth noting: someone has 4 votes out of a possible 83, which is crazy to me because I know there's a lot of people in this chat that are huge someone enjoyers, right? And for good reason. He's a very strong, the next best flex tank after Smurf, debatably better than Smurf in some instances. Specifically on the off tanks, right? But only 4 is crazy. And spoiler for Coach of the Year when we get to that, Gumba had 0 votes, which blows my mind how nobody voted him for Coach of the Year. Like, he was my number 2, probably, but him being no votes out of 83 possible votes is crazy. It's crazy. But yeah, someone just the same. It's like, we gotta make sure people know about Florida more. We gotta get the Florida train going, team, because like, what the hell? He should not have 4 votes. Another interesting thing about Role Stars is, in order to qualify for Role Stars, a player had to play at least half of their team's map total over the course of the season. But I must inquire, how the fuck is it possible that Void and Fate exactly split 50-50? There's no way. Void definitely played more than Fate. So like, that just can't be true. Or Fate wouldn't have any votes. Like, it just can't be true. So, and same with Fury Bellisria. And, well, Magpunk's a little different, but Mag Kalios is here? I don't know. It's, that has to be fraudulent. That has to be a fraudulent thing. People might have just said that. That's crazy. But I don't think Fate deserves these votes anyway. Not even like, not that he doesn't deserve them. He did look okay in Mid-Season Madness, but other than that, it was mostly Void the whole way through. So, like, whatever. Even if Void did get these and he went to 21, it's not like that matters much. I'd leapfrog him over Kalush, but that's barely anything. So yeah, basically, Hump and Smurf should have been locks, and then if your other two between Hottie, Reiner, Hawk, Dante, Kaluge, someone, I think all is reasonable. And then of course there's gonna be these people that just do some troll picks, like Kalios should not have a vote, Gaga, Hotba, Sawson. None of these guys should have votes. I see the vision with Bellisria. I see the vision with Bernard. I see the vision with Punk and Fury. I don't see it with Mag. I don't really see it with Fury either, to be honest. And Krong is just like recency bias. We kind of just forget that his Winston was awful, his Wrecking Ball was awful before, like... Actually, Krong shouldn't be there at all. There's zero situations where Krong should be there. It should just be... Because Piggy just like hard diffed him in the end. I don't know. Krong shouldn't be there at all. He looked not good. No idea how Krong and someone get the same amount of votes. That's crazy. Anyway, moving on to support. We get Shu with 64 votes, Fielder with 33, Izzyaki with 29, and Chio with 24 as your support role stars, and Violet, Vindame together with the runner-up for the 5th, 6th man at 21. So, Shu, 64 votes out of the possible 83. He should have 83. There's no world in which you can say Shu was not a top support this season. Unless you say, well, he didn't play in the Junker Queen meta. I don't really care. I don't care. Smurf was the best support this season, and everyone agrees. Most people agree. Almost double second best, right? Crazy. So my all-star team, prefacing this, I believe it was Shu, Chio, Vindame, and Finn. So I got 2 of them, but I did not think Fielder or Izzyaki. I think Fielder is perfectly reasonable. No doubt, Fielder's been very good. I think Finn is maybe not a great pick, considering that he did troll his tournament a little bit, and Shock is mostly proper. But and some people, I guess, enjoyed Violet a bit more towards the end. I think if Violet was a role star, I would have been pretty upset. Personally, I think it's hard to argue Violet. And yes, he has the stats. He has the huge damage numbers. He builds this out incredibly fast. But whenever I see him, I think his ults are not the best sometimes. And I think, especially in this playoffs, it was kind of evident to me that he would just be out of position and get hit by Sojourn sometimes. And that's not great, obviously. So I think, to me, Vindame was just better. But whatever. I think next year, if he continues to play the Lucio, because there are going to be some main supports coming up from O2 Blast. You got Bliss. He could be there. Who knows what's going on there. But we'll see. I think if he continues the Lucio path, he'll be pretty good. But the elephant in the room, the one player that I am very surprised by is Izzyaki at 29. I think Izzyaki an alright pick, but 29 seems like a lot to me. I think Vindame looked nicer to me, and if you want to go to the next best flex support, I think I see the vision, because the next best flex support's actually far away for some reason. I don't know, maybe the Chinese talent and the Chinese teams really value far away, and they think he's really good. I don't think he is the 4th best flex support in the league this season. I like Finn more. I like Creative more, who only has 4 votes. I like UV more. I don't know. I like a lot of players more than I did far away. 18 is just crazy. I simply did not expect that number. When I did this, I was like, how? But yeah, so then there's that. But, Izzyaki is not a bad pick. I think he's a fine pick. To me, it's just I wish we had some Vindame love. I think Vindame really deserved this role star. But Izzyaki gets it, and Izzyaki did well this season. He was one of the only other players in Shanghai that consistently performed outside of Lip. So that's how it is. Looking at some of the funny troll picks, Lengsa, Khan, Gangnam Jin, Landon. Well, Landon, I can see a vision. I can't see a vision with Aim Guy getting 2. MCD, Fixa, none of these guys. Faith has 2. Faith has more than Crimzo. MCD has more than Crimzo. Why? Why doesn't Crimzo have more than his support line? He's the best one. I think Twilight has way too many votes. I think Charong's been better than Twilight. And I know Twilight has really good stats, but it's just like, I think that he was not... I expected more. That could be on me. My expectations could have been too high. But I think outside of the Joe meta on Brig, he's been kind of whatever. Another situation where how does Skewed, Funny Astro, and Shu all have 50% of games played? Actually, this one might be possible because of how Shu didn't play a stage. Maybe that one's possible. I doubt it. But yeah, so that's support. Next, DPS. We have Kevster with the most at 58, Proper 56, Lip 47, and Profit 31. So Kevster gets more votes for Role Star despite losing MVP. Very curious. That's just crazy. How is that possible? And both Proper and Kevster should have been complete locks. Even Lip, I think, should have been a lock. But being significantly below the 83% mark, pretty shocking. Pretty shocking to me. But yeah, and then Lip, I think Lip, only player on Shanghai other than is Yaki, as I said, that's been holding them together that whole season. And then Profit at 31. Now here's the thing with Profit, I like it, and if you frown on Shy after Spark's poor back half, I understand it even more. However, Shy did not underperform in the back half. That was not on Shy. So I think it would have been completely reasonable. I think Shy should have been a lock if his team didn't completely explode for the final two stages. But because they did, unfortunately, people will sour on Shy a little bit. And so he only gets 14 votes in the end. But I think if you're not going to consider Shy, or if Merit, maybe Merit with 8 votes. Edison with 9 compared to Sparkle with 8 is interesting. And then, who's someone that should have more? Sparker at 2 is criminal. I think Sparker should have significantly more than 2. He definitely should have more than Backbone. He should have as much as Merit, I think. Yeah, it's very, very crazy stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I think most of these are pretty reasonable. Other side of that, I think Dia getting votes is actually crazy. He just shouldn't, because EasyHan was their Sojourn player. Dia played at the beginning, and that's pretty much it. He played some Ashe here and there, but Dia shouldn't have 6 votes. EasyHan has 0. How does Dia have 6? EasyHan diffed him. Dia didn't even play half the maps. He played just crazy stuff. It just doesn't make sense. Choice A1 should have more, but that's Choice A1 bias from me because he's the GOAT. Yeah, I know. But yeah, I think if it wasn't gonna be Profit, it had to be Shy, Merit. No one, not Zest. I don't think Zest's number as your 5th man seems kind of weird to me. Yeah, I don't know. It just feels kind of weird. But I guess it's true. Zest is pretty well. But I think with 3 people getting as many votes as they do, it doesn't leave a lot of room for the 4th option, right? That's just kind of the thing. That's why I see Profit get so many more. And Profit's a good pick. His first regular season award. Not bad. Next, Coach of the Year. Very interesting one. So, Christopher, 34. You only got 1 vote for these, so the numbers are a lot smaller. Because you just got 1. I kind of wish they had multiple, and then you just tally them up for first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and then you tally it. But whatever. I feel like that makes better results, and you get to see who the true second was. Because, Toby at second makes sense. But yeah, Christopher 34 kind of runs away with it in terms of second best or anyone else. But Toby 17. The reasoning for Toby is probably because Soul had a lot of different looks and they utilized Smurf. And then the creativity of putting Profit onto the Brig, making a trade that you can argue benefited your team. I don't think it did. I feel like you probably didn't want that. But who knows? Rush is a little interesting, I guess, because of how much Dallas mastered the comps. But there was some trouble in Midseason Madness. Krusty for having an all-rookie team, but that was mostly Proper. Face just is here because he won 2. No idea why Moon's here. You could argue, well, he faced the challenges that happened with the team very quickly, with how, they had some leadership issues whenever Void came in earlier, and they were like, oh, we'll just play Fate to fix that, and we'll play the Wrecking Ball. That'd be creative. DPay for turning around the Titans. Now, 2 people voted 9K, who is now the assistant coach on Shock. He was Philly's head coach. But I guess you can vote for assistant coaches if you'd like. And these 2 probably just forgot that, they were probably just, oh, I'll vote for Philly's coach, 9K. And they just forgot that 9K is not Philly's coach. So the Shock, like, so they end up voting for an assistant coach for the Shock, sure. And I have no clue why anyone would vote for Ascoft, because this was Mineral, wasn't it? For most of the, or no, Mineral was GM. Was it Ascoft the whole time? I don't remember. But yeah, crazy. But the craziest thing is Gunba, big man Gunba gets 0 votes. And to me, he was second up. Because Christopher wins because London have a massive turnaround from last season. The team defies all expectations. He does creative compositions for his team to benefit his team. Is that not the same story as Gumba in some ways? Like, instead of, it's just like it isn't a direct turnaround because they have less of similar players, right? But Gunba, Florida did not have as big expectations going into the season. A little higher than Florida, not insane. But they also finished better than Florida every time, except for playoffs. But these votes didn't happen then, so that doesn't really matter. So they had a little bit higher expectations, but they finished higher than London, and they finished well above their expectations. So like, and as the stages went on, no, you know what? They didn't start off that strong for a lot of metas, but they got there. And that's what matters more. How you finish is way more important than how you start. And Florida always finished strong. So it's crazy to me that Gumba doesn't get any love for anyone in Coach of the Year throughout the entire league, throughout all the talent, throughout all the media. That's like the biggest snub. He wasn't going to win. Christopher's going to win. I think Christopher would have been my vote if I had one, right? But to not even get anything, it's crazy to me. And maybe you could say that the people who would have voted for Gunba would just vote for Christopher instead. And then if you weren't going to vote for Christopher, you weren't going to vote for Gunba, and then it went over here. Some other people, maybe, but it just doesn't make a lot of sense. Now, Rookie of the Year, Proper runs away with this, 67. Just domination from Proper. And Zest gets 7, which is very interesting because to 7 people, Zest beats Proper for Rookie of the Year, but nobody votes Zest for MVP, which is funny. But I guess it's slightly different. But crazy. These are probably the people that are like, oh, Proper can't win everything, so I'll vote him for MVP and give Zest Rookie of the Year. It's like, grow up, man. Grow up. If Proper's the best rookie, you give it to him. If Proper's the most valuable player, you give it to him there too. That's how it should be. So yeah, you get some votes here and there. I think one of these is from Shock because they can't vote for Proper. So it's whatever. And there was a lot of players that didn't get a mention who, frankly, no one should have gotten a mention except for Proper and whoever Shock wanted to vote for, which was Chio. Then we get to MVP. MVP is extremely close. You get Proper with 19, Kevster 16, Hombin 16, Lip 15, and then it drops off a bit. Prophet gets 7, Shu gets 6, Smurf gets 4, and Hottie gets 1, the one Hottie enjoyer. Shout out for the one Hottie enjoyer. And then Kai and Zest get nothing because they shouldn't. They just are not in the same level as these guys. They just seem a little out of place. So Proper gets 19. God bless, he won it. I think he deserved it the most. However, I have to think in my head, if Shu wasn't an option, do those 6 people that vote Shu, do some of them go over to Kevster? If even 4 of them go to Kevster, because they're like, oh, Shu was the star of the Gladiators, but if they were going to give it to Kevster after that, Kevster would have won. And Kevster did get more votes in DPS Role Stars somehow. So I think this was like a little bit of cross-sectional fighting or something. You know what I mean? Like they like friendly fire almost between Shu and Kevster. But yeah, I think it's Proper all the way. Definitely carries Shock. Kevster had a team around him. And maybe you can say that he did carry more than we thought, especially with how he wasn't able to really carry in the playoffs and Gladiators didn't look nearly as good. And same in Junker Queen meta. Kevster couldn't really carry, and so they looked worse. So maybe you can think that. But the difference is Proper was able to carry in those metas. And Kevster wasn't, so Proper should be better. If Hombin didn't miss Midseason Madness because Fearless played more, good possibility for Hombin to have more points. And then Lip gets a lot of love, and he deserves it for how much he was the only player that was really keeping Shanghai afloat. Other than that, I think Shu has an interesting argument, but missing a stage isn't great. Again, similar to Hombin. Yeah, interesting that Smurf only gets 4 votes, but I see it. He's not really the most valuable. He was just a glue of the team, which you need. That is valuable, but it's different. And then I don't have anything for the other ones. I don't have a thing because I don't have the stats, so I didn't make it. But I will go over to the news, and I will talk a little bit about the Dennis Hawelka. So, RotY gets it. He deserves it. I'm not going to say who should have won it, all this stuff, blah, 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 blah. That's not what the point of the award is. I just want to talk about RotY. He's the GOAT, right? Helping out so much with his team, helping out everywhere. Big icon for the league. The story he's been through, everything. Just want to shout him out again for winning this award because, he's the GOAT. And it's not about, I could be like, oh, this person should have won or this person should have won. That defeats the purpose of this award, right? That's not it. That's not the point. RotY's the GOAT. Just want to talk about that. Let everyone know even more. RotY's the GOAT. And then talking about the grand finals MVP that is Fearless. So it would have been, I believe they have 2 winners maybe because I feel like Proper probably got a lot of votes. Can I just get this image? Yeah, look, we got this image. I'll do this. So Fearless wins it. To me, if it has to go to someone on Dallas, which it probably does because they win, and you don't want to give it to someone who doesn't win, right? That just that's not right. It doesn't feel right. So to me, I think it probably was. I think to me it was Fielder. I think the stuff he was doing on Kiriko, he's always getting into ults fast, these huge bells, and all that. Now you can argue getting ults fast is because of Fearless, sure. I think that any pick that was Fearless, Fielder, or Edison was correct. I think it would be very hard to justify Chio or Sparkle or the Reaper or the Lucio, right? I feel like they definitely had less impact compared to the rest of the composition. But I think Fearless, Fielder, Edison was a fine pick. And Fearless, it's crazy that he just comes in. Hanbin gets most of the spotlight in the regular season. He pulls up. He does work. Best Winston in the tournament, almost undisputably. Huge. Well, you could argue Gushway, I guess, if you wanted to. But Gushway didn't make it to the top 3, so yeah, there it is. Nice, and I think it's fine. I think it's good. Yeah, I like Fielder a little bit more. I feel like the Kiriko had a bit more agency, but it's very hard to say. It's extremely hard to say, which means Fielder's a great pick. So yeah, that's it. Let me know your thoughts on the voting on this nice little thing. I'll have this in the description. I'll have, I guess that's it, because you can go find all the news outlets. If you're looking for like the actual like who voted for who, you just go to one of these news articles on the website and you go down to the bottom and you can find out right here. So you can do that if you want. But yeah, anyway, thank you so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts. Like this video if you like it. Subscribe if you really like it. I'm going to keep the off-season going for a bit, the off-season content. And yeah, deuces.